Welcome to the Extractional user guides. These user guides will help understand how these software works. In this user guide you will learn how to export validations in the system. Before we start, this video will be divided in 3 chapters and will not take more than 3 minutes of your time. Before we start exporting CSV files, we need to define what data we want to export as well as organize it. I would also like to add that all templates which are selected as a default will be those chosen as the first choice for exportation. To start, we will need to create a new template or adapt an existing one. For this video, I will be creating a new one from scratch. I will start by clicking on the Add button. I will now need to define my new template. The first thing that we can do is define a specific name for the template. To do so, you will need to click on the edit icon next to the current name. You can now define the template name in all the different languages and save your choice by clicking on the Submit button. Now, you will need to define all the other fields. It is important to correctly define all the number and date format, especially if you would like to interact with other systems. You can also define if you would like to have a flag automation once exporting in this format. Most importantly, we will start defining all the different columns we would like to have in our system. To do so, we will start by clicking on the following Add button. We can now define what field we want to be showed from our system, as well as changing the name that we would like to have on the CSV file for each column. Repeat this process for all the columns that you would like to add. You can always change the order of the defined fields by dragging them, as I'm doing. Once you are happy with your template, you will need to click on the Submit button at the bottom of the page. Your template is now saved and ready to use. In order to define a template, you will either need to open an existing template or create a new one. For this example, I will be opening an existing one. The first thing that you will be able to define is these fields. These fields are identical to those seen on the previous chapter, so I will not explain what each one of these fields means. You will now need to define all the template's main content. To do so, you will need to start by defining all the file main content. You will need to define it in the following box and write everything in XML. It is important that you use the following annotation if you would like to insert the display name of a field in the system. You will also need to use the following annotation to call the field's value. Once you have finished implementing the main template's content, you will have the possibility to implement a template for each item and for separate transactions respectively. Last, when you are happy with your XML template, you will need to save it by clicking on the Submit button below. To export a single document, you will need to start by viewing it. Then, you will need to go to the bottom of the page. You can now choose the desired exporting format as well as the template and how it should be outputted. Please pay attention that the file must be accepted in the system. Last, you will need to click on the Submit button to export the document. In this last part, you will learn how to extract several files at the same time. All validations in the validation table will be exported based on the applied filter and search options, not only the ones that are checked. You will then need to click on the Export Selection button and choose the specific export that you would like to do. Once you are happy with your choice, you simply need to click on the OK button and the selection will be exported.